I beg to move. What I can tell you is this. When that happened, I was not here. And let me tell you from what I see, from where I sit. Yeah? There's something, long ago people eating, and they put on a bib, not to dirty their clothes, but they continue to eat. When you're eating, eat and share with members of the public. Don't eat alone. Right? I beg to move.
Could you just clarify what that means? Has been consistent.
I read I didn't say Tobago, you see?
But you see, in your speech you mentioned I read
I want to record it first. I recorded you too. Go ahead.
In your speech today you mentioned A-Radar. And this came just after the radar was spoken about in Tobago. Now there have been some concerns in terms of the information coming out. It was at first stated that it wasn't a radar, there was no information about it, and now we're seeing that this came from the US. Some of the concerns, the major concern was that there seemed to be some sort of, using delicate words here, miscommunication from the government, particularly with the people of Tobago.
My Prime Minister already spoke to that issue, so I will leave that right there. When I spoke of a reader today, I was speaking about in terms of prevention and protection for persons. Because how you will know if something is coming if you do not have the technology available to identify it? Could a man stand up here holding like this? Only a fool puts his 2 feet into water to test the depth of it.
Now this radar, it's not temporary, it's a permanent thing, yes?
I just told you, my Prime Minister already spoke to that.
Well, as Minister...
My Prime Minister already spoke to that. I don't see the issue behind the radar. You know what I want to, the issue I want to speak to? How technology benefits our citizens, including you. That's what we should have had a conversation about, how technology benefits our citizens. In a couple of days from now, you'll see me bringing something here. If you fire a shot at someone, and whether you kill them or not, I can trace that spent shell to its origin. That's the type of technology we're looking for. Like you're talking about radar. Listen, how are we to protect our borders that has not been protected before? Because you saw something spinning in the sky there, having that it was good, it was working. Can you implement something? If you had a camera here from 1911, it would have been in black and white. It might have red stripes.
Now you mentioned border security. You're part of the government that would have cancelled the OPVs, which was part of the border protection. How would you marry the two now?
What I can tell you is this. When that happened, I was not here. And let me tell you from what I see, from where I sit. Yeah? There's something, long ago people eating, and they put on a bib, not to dirty their clothes, but they continue to eat. When you're eating, eat and share with members of the public. Don't eat alone. Right? I beg to move.
Could you just clarify what that means? What exactly are you saying with that statement?
What I'm saying? You see, people wanted to purchase things. But look at let's talk about the body cams, huh? Want to talk about the body cams?
Sure, yeah.
There are persons who want to purchase body cams that we can bring direct into this country with more technology for a smaller amount, not 25 million. Is it?
Now, in Parliament, as you mentioned, in Parliament you were hinting at somebody in the opposite side relative being connected with that deal. Do you mind elaborating?
No, not yet. When the time is right. When the time is right. But as I said before, technology is where we're going.
Is the secretary ready for anything as alluded to in a post?
Listen, we're only going all there for. Listen, the idea is to bring technology that could provide a level of safety and security for our citizens. Are you not part of the citizenry here?
Now, as somebody who's been in investigation, you find it somewhat suspicious that all this is happening, this technology coming from the U.S. whilst there's growing tensions between the U.S. and Venezuela.
You know the strange thing? July, when the Americans were here assisting us with operations, there was no tension, right? Hey, listen, I need to stop one day, I need to stop behave like that.
Seems to be heightening and continuously heightening.
Well, look, my Prime Minister spoke to that. So you know what I'll do at this time? I beg to move.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rakah Kodash. Double honor unto the apostles and the elders of the great millstone that rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect, beginning with the 144,000 men. The name of this episode is Among My People Are Found Wicked Men. All right. And, here you have, and by the way, fair use. This video is only for educational purposes only. Copyright disclaimer 1976, right? This video is not being used for monetary purposes. It's only for teaching. All right. I'm not getting anything out of using this video. First and foremost, as for you YouTube on your copyright strikes. All right. So among my people are found wicked men. You have this guy here, Alexander. All right. The minister. I think he's the Homeland Security Minister. All right. Basically, basically threatening the citizens of the so-called citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. In this article here we have on screen here, this snap here, and it's urgent. It says he's urging citizens to keep their online comments civil, warning that threats. Basically he's threatening people. He's threatening people, and that shows that it really has no how you would say, freedom of speech in the media. It's all bullshit. And this man, is a wicked man. He's known to be a Freemason. People have seen him with the rings. He's a former police officer and whatnot. A lot of them in it. And basically, he's hand in hand with Esau. All right, he's hand in hand with Esau. All right, and what he's pushing is basically Esau's technology, and selling it to Jake. All right, he's selling it to Jake, for Jake to buy it. That is going to be help with protection, with security, safety. All right, all these things. All right, and in that interview there, the guy really showed that he's a hypocrite. He was saying that he was talking about border patrols, but they were the one who was part and parcel in eliminating that. In fact, the current Prime Minister was part and parcel of back in the day of eliminating, I think it was the SWAT. I believe it was the SWAT. All right, eliminating the SWAT, shutting it down. They had radars that were on the borders of the country, all right, to see who was coming in. But all of a sudden now, this radar is okay. This radar is okay. Why? Because Babylon the Great is involved. Babylon the Great is involved. These people are corrupt. Right? They're corrupt. As the scriptures say, they're like the father, the devil. Let's go here. The book of John chapter 8 and verse 44. It says what? Ye are of your father the devil. And the Lord was speaking about this. The Lord speaking here, Yahushai, in red writing. Where he's speaking to Jake, to Israel. But yet he's telling them, you like your father the devil. Who's the devil? Esau Edom, the so-called white man. Right? You are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father you will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, right? And abode not in the truth, right? He didn't abide in the truth. He always hated the truth. And this guy here, he's running from the truth. And he's not the only one. There are many like him. Right? Because there's no truth in him, right? They have no truth in him. Right? When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. Right? And this is why these guys here, they have that same spirit. They're baptized with Esau Edom's spirit. And that they're lies. They're full of lies. Alright, they're full of lies. Let's go to 1 Maccabees. And there's many precepts you can go to. Psalm 55 and 21 tell you about Esau. He breaks every covenant. His words were smoother. And in fact, let me get it. Because these jakes here follow suit. right? They follow suit in the same spirit as the devil, right? The so-called white man. Psalm 55 and 21. It says the words of his mouth were smooth. In fact, let's read from 20. He had put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He had broken his covenant, right? You know, Venezuela's at peace with them, with the US. They coming down here with all the weaponry under false pretense. Verse 21 says the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, right? But war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. All right, and these jakes here follow that same philosophy. All right, that same philosophy. They follow it to a T. You know, this is what they're about. Let's go here. The book of First Maccabees, chapter 1. First Maccabees 1 and First Maccabees 1 and verse 11. It's saying, those days where went out of Israel men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant. Right? So in those days there went out of Israel wicked men, right? You know, like this here. All right, you know, let's go back here. Who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. All right, and covenant with Esau. That's why they enter his Rosicrucian lodge. All right, etc. All right, it says, for since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. Right? For since we departed from them, we've had what? Much sorrow. And these Rosicrucian lodge, it ain't no secret anymore. They've been pushing out and advertising for members. They're hungry for members right now. All right? Okay? So they're following after the heathen. The prime minister, most likely she's a heathen. So he following after, he made a covenant with the heathen. Right? Verse 12 says, so this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward therein that they went to the king, who gave them a license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. So this is what these men, they push. Right, let's get another one. Book of Jeremiah chapter 5 and verse 26. It says what? For among my people are found what? Wicked men. For among my people are found wicked men. They lay wait. Right, they lay wait. As he that setteth snares. Alright, among my people are found wicked men, they lay wait. So they lay in wait, right? As he that setteth snares, they set a trap, they catch men, because he's bringing in and talking about that technology coming, you know. But that technology is not for Jake's benefit. It's for Esau to take control of everything, including Jake. Right? You heard the term he said technology is where we going. So he outright telling you that. You know, which is the agenda of these secret societies anyway. Because their head is no going back into the Illuminati. Alright? And, you know, ultimately, the banking families. Beginning with the Rothschilds. Alright? And that's the agenda to bring in what? This new world order. So this is what he's doing. He's setting us near. But men like this is the ones who are going to not only take the MOTB. Right? That RFID CHIP. But also they're going to push it. They're going to push the devil's device. Dastardly device. Okay? You know? This is what's going to happen. Alright, let's get another precept here. The book of Micah, chapter 3, verse 1. And the Lord is going to take you all out. Alright? Yeah, these people talk about this technology, the digitalization. All of it is going to help Jake. It's going to enable Trinidad, you know, and other small countries to play on the global stage. It's going to help you to be able to be safe, to be protected. You know, for those of you who have injuries or some dis to the ease, it's going to help you with that. It's going to save you. No, these things are lying wonders, right? It's technology. That's the lying wonders that the Bible speaks of. All right, this is Micah 3 and 1. It says, the rulers denounced. It says, and I said, hear, I pray you, O heads of Jacob, and ye princes of the houses of Israel. Right? He's a head in Jacob. right? Is it not for you to know judgment? Who hate the good and love the evil, right? They put darkness for light and light for darkness, all right? Who pluck off their skin from off them, and their flesh from off their bones, right? Who eat all, and this is spiritual, all right? When you go into Ezekiel 37, they talk about the dry bones, and that flesh come upon them and whatnot, but they pull it off. They pull Jake back into the world, right? Because where there's, this truth going out, and the word going out to tell you that y'all are the beloved children of Israel, and whatnot. They as soon as that skin, that flesh come on the bones, they pull it off. They drag Jake back into the world. All right, before Jake could get the spirit, right? That spirit. So it says, continuing here, verse 3, it says, who also eat the flesh of my people, and flay their skin from off them, and they break their bones, and chop them in pieces, as for the pot, right? They're the ones selling out Jake. And as flesh within the cauldron, right? Let's put a pause there, because when you go into the book of, is it Zechariah 11, verse 4, what does it tell you? It says, for thus saith Yahweh my power, feed the flock of the slaughter, right? Who's the flock of the slaughter? Jake. Whose possessors slay them, and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich. And their own shepherds pity them not. So they Jakes that they feel like, hey, look, I'm doing well. He in a 3-piece suit. These Jakes in a 3-piece suit, speaking to the media up there, think he's a sophisticated Negro, right? Well, you're just a sellout, right? They don't care about you Jakes. They don't care about you Jakes. All right? It says, for I will no more pity the inhabitants of the land, saith the Lord. But lo, I will deliver the men every one into his neighbor's hand, and into the hand of his king, and they shall smite the land, and out of their hand I will not deliver them. Because they're wicked. Jake wicked. Right? Jake wicked. Alright? But that's why we fishing for the elect. We're not talking about building communities. We're not having no land blitz. Alright? Going out there buying land and thinking that we continue in Babylon. No, the scriptures say here we have no continuing city. Alright? We have no continuing city. That's why all these Jakes going to be disappointed. Right? Micah 3 and verse 4 says, then shall they cry unto the Lord, but he will not hear them. He will even hide his face from them at that time, as they have behaved themselves ill in their doings. Thus saith the Lord concerning the prophets that make my people that because best believe he's a prophet. On the left hand side, he's a messenger. On the left hand side. Right? Because he's talking about technologies, where they go in technology. That's he's saying before it comes to pass. Right? He's a false prophet. It says, that bite with their teeth and cry, peace. And he that putteth not into their mouths, they even prepare war against him. Right? Therefore, night shall be unto you, that ye shall not have a vision, and it shall be dark unto you, and ye shall not divine, and the sun shall go down over the prophets, and the day shall be dark over them. Right? It's going to be dark, because all of them going to be disappointed. All the shit that they're pushing, they're going to understand that they ain't persona non grata to Esau. Esau don't give two rat's ass about you. Alright, all you leaders, Jake leaders. Alright? Then shall the seers be ashamed, and the diviners confounded, yea, they shall all cover their lips, for there is no answer of power. But truly I am full of power by the Spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Who's that? The elect, beginning with the prophets. And of judgment and of might, to declare unto Jacob his transgression, and to Israel his sins. Only the prophets said you weren't doing this. The rest of them leading you down a dark ditch. Right? A dark ditch. Verse 9 says, hear this, I pray you, ye heads of the house of Jacob, and princes of the house of Israel, that abhor judgment, and pervert all equity. You twist everything. Twist wicked things and say it's good. Right? The safety is protection. It's security. Right, verse 10, they build up Zion with blood and Jerusalem with iniquity. The heads thereof judge for reward. That's what they're doing, for reward, for payment, being paid off. You know, I'm talking about the radar. I think they didn't get paid off to keep that quiet. Right? And the priests thereof teach for hire, and the prophets thereof divine for money. Yet will they lean upon the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and say, it is not the Lord among us. None evil shall come upon us, you know. But they're going to be disappointed. It says, therefore shall Zion for your sake be plowed as a field, and Jerusalem shall become as heaps. The Lord says he's going to search Jerusalem with candles. Right? And take care of those, you know, roughly paraphrasing, who've been settled on the lease. But a lot of them know about this truth. This guy here came up to the camp, I believe, while the brothers were in Cked years ago. Alright, so he knows about this truth. Taking pictures and whatnot, I believe, roughly paraphrasing what the brother said. Alright? It says, therefore shall Zion for your sake be plowed as a field, and Jerusalem shall become heaps, and the mountain of the house as high as the high places of the forest. The things going, you know, going to grow where the wicked temples are. Right? Where the temple is, Salakia. Because they defile these places. Jerusalem will be reduced to ruin. Jerusalem is a people before it's a place. Alright, so good things are not coming to you, Jakes, because you're wicked. You're continuing evil and wickedness. Alright, let me see if I can get some couple other precepts. Psalm 140. I'll just read this here, verse 5. The proud, Psalm 140 and 5. The proud have hid a snare for me, and cords. They have spread a net by the wayside. They have set gins for me, right? Traps, right, along the way. I said unto the Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, thou art my power. Hear the voice of my supplications, O Lord. O power, the Lord, the strength of my salvation. Thou hast covered my head in the day of battle. Grant not, O Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, the desires of the wicked. Further not his wicked device, lest they exalt themselves. Selah. And this is what these Jakes pushing, the wicked devices. All goes right back. All this digitalization, all this so-called security technology goes right back to the MOTB. Right, making a permanent covenant with darkness, with the wicked. Right, that the Lord said if you do it, he's going to destroy you. Alright? And, you know, for all of you Jakes, and all you who want to lean onto Esau, want to lean onto Babylon the Great for their strength, this is for you. This is Isaiah 31:1. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses, and trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Yet he also is wise, and will bring evil, and will not call back his words, but will arise against the house of the evildoers, and against the help of them that work iniquity. Going to arise against them. It says, now the Egyptians are men and not power, and their horses flesh and not spirit. With Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, when Yahweh Hashem Yahushai shall stretch out his hand, right, both he that helpeth shall fall, right, and he that is helping shall fall, right. So all them who been helped by Babylon the Great, but into these politicians, right, and they shall all fail together, right, because they hand in hand with our enemies. Let me get one more. Though hand join in hand. Proverbs 11:21. Proverbs chapter 11, verse 21. It says what? Though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not go unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered. Right, going back into the elect. Right? So y'all wicked ass Jakes, you could put hand in hand in Esau, you're gonna be disappointed. The Lord is gonna disappoint you. Alright? You know, and all you wicked men are among the Lord's people are found wicked men. These wicked men are gonna fall with Esau and his kingdom. Alright, so with that, I pray this lesson was edifying. Till next time, Shalom wa Harag Babal.